move us up here. Hello. Welcome to the stream.
Well, no, the screen is getting so huge.
I know. It's okay. It'll be smaller soon. Welcome to the stream. I'm Victoria. If you guys don't know, I'm the community manager for Kitfox. This is our guest, Erica. She's the art director, I guess, for Shrouded Isle, our new game. Which you can add to your Steam wish list if you like.
Is there a link on Twitch?
Yeah, I'll add the link to Twitch. There should be one if you scroll down. Yeah, so we're just going to be having, I guess, a live drawing session with Erica, which we were supposed to have a few weeks ago, but that didn't happen because we didn't have Photoshop.
Oops, oh, Photoshop is on this computer.
That's kind of important. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoy. Feel free to just throw questions in chat. I'll be monitoring it. We'll be talking with Erica a bit, and yeah, enjoy. I'm going to shrink us. Whoa. And then Photoshop. Oh. Ooh,
Screen.
Yeah, goes up. Oh.
Yeah, no, that's
yep,
not. Yeah,
that's normal.
I guess we'll have to rely on the chat.
Yeah, don't even worry. I got this. Watching chat like a hawk.
Okay, I didn't actually super know what I was gonna draw when I walked in here, which was kind of a problem. Like we were saying earlier, like I do my warm-ups every morning, and that's like a really good way to just like get my mind in the like creative flow of like, okay, I need to come up with ideas and wait, I need to come up with stuff on the spot really quickly, and it's difficult to do that twice in one day, I guess. Because usually I do that to get my mind kind of warmed up in a way that I'm like, oh, now I can take on all the stuff that I actually had planned today.
Right. You do that, like, I know you do your daily warm-ups a lot. Have you been doing it for like a really long time now?
I mean, today was my 352nd.
Whoa.
Which,
that's insane.
I forgot how many days there are in a year.
There's 365.
All right, that's the number. I was like, that's 2 days over the amount of days. Well, wait, there's not 350 days in a year. It's the actual number. Yeah, it's been going on for a while. I actually forget. No, way longer than a year because I don't do them on weekends.
Oh, okay.
And I've missed a few days here and there, either because I was busy with work or sick or whatever. I think I started. It's been since some point in 2014, I think. No, wait, 2015. But I'm not super sure about that, honestly. I lose track of it.
Just a vague timer. Oh, good. Weavington says nailed it. Yep, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering though, like, do you find that the daily drawing sessions like have helped you out creatively or anything?
I think they're single-handedly responsible for like making me as like proficient of an artist as I am now. Like the thing that like, because like the thing when you ask an artist of like, well, how do I get better, or like, how do I do this, and like they'll always tell you the same thing, and it's like a super depressing thing to hear, because they'll always just tell you it's practice, because that's really just what it is. It's like, well, I've been doing this for years, and that's how I'm able to do that now, because it's, you know, compounded knowledge over over X amount of time, that's kind of what the warm-ups are. Like I did them because I wanted to like get better at like my improvisational skills, like when painting, but at the same time it's like, well, I'm painting every day now, so I'm like kind of indirectly practicing, and like on some days I'm like, I want to try something new, and then I'll try something new, and like I'll keep trying that thing over a couple days. So that's like almost without knowing it, that's practice.
Right.
And like it was the kind of thing where I didn't, when starting, I didn't realize would actually be like such a huge help. But like after 3 months, I'd look at what I was doing like I was doing then versus what I did when I started, and it was like, oh my god, like even in 3 months, like I've improved so much. What the hell? I'm going to turn Snap off. Fuck that.
Screw that.
But the difficult part with the warm ups though, which is like I understand why like I can tell people like, oh, it's super helpful and you should absolutely do like practice every day. But it's super hard to like find the motivation or just the like the will to do something every single day.
Right. Does it take a lot of time too?
No, I usually like I like the whole idea was that I didn't have a ton of time during the day to work on them, so I'd only spend like 30 to 40 minutes on each, and I still stick to that.
Okay, that's pretty solid. Do you have you? I don't know how to word this. Do you do like quotation marks? Any traditional painting, like physically?
No,
Okay.
I'm. What is going on with the? Something weird was happening. No, I can't paint at all. I actually like super hate painting because like or traditional painting, like painting with a brush and all of that. I can't stand it because I'm awful at it. I'm awful at it because like for one, it's mixing colors, which I'm not good with because I'm colorblind. And then
what?
Yeah. Fun fact.
Wait, oh my gosh. Okay, I have like a million questions now, but keep going. Keep going.
People usually do when I bring that up. Yeah, I'm colorblind, so mixing colors is really hard. But then it's also like the process, like, and this is not me shitting on like painting or whatever. Like there are people who like it, and that's fine, and like I like respect the medium. But I don't like doing it because I don't enjoy the process. I don't enjoy the process of painting colors. I don't enjoy the fact that painting is like you have to think in bases and in layers, and like it's not like this where I can just throw colors down and then undo, or throw colors down, throw like a super bright color on top of it, then a super dark color on top of it, then a light color on top of it. Like real paint doesn't work that way. It's like you can't like do unless you're working with like really opaque paints. But those don't mix well, and like they end up looking really shitty, or like that's like oil painting. But oil painting is really hard because it doesn't like like when I was in college, we did a lot of acrylic painting, and acrylic painting is like you need to mix the colors, but it's easier to get into because acrylic paint dries really fast. So you can throw a base down and then wait a couple of minutes and then immediately start painting on top of it because it's already dried. Whereas oil is like it takes forever to dry.
Right.
Like you're gonna be waiting like days sometimes for like a layer to finish drying or something. But yeah, like I don't enjoy that process. I don't enjoy the way like brushes feel on a canvas. I don't enjoy like having to clean my brushes.
Oh, the cleaning of the brushes.
It's expensive. Brushes are expensive. Paint is expensive, and that's not to say that digital art isn't expensive, but it's generally like they're all one-time expenses. I buy the software, I buy the hardware, and then that's it.
Right.
You know, pending any like future upgrades to either things, but.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so back to the colorblind part, because now I'm just amazed. So are you, I assume, red-green colorblind? That's the most common one.
Yeah, it's red-green, but it's like a like weird, oh crap, I'm already fucking up my layers, whatever, no layers. It's like a weird like bespoke version where it's not super rare, but it's not like the super common one, where I also have trouble with like blues.
As in you can't differentiate between the like I don't know, blue and purple?
Yeah, basically. and that's not like the really easy misconception with colorblindness is people thinking like, well, you can't see those colors, right? And it's like, no, I can see them. It's just that like here, this might actually be super wonky because we're on like a monitor that doesn't have the best colors. Trying to think like that and no. This looks the same to me.
Oh.
They look exactly, I can't tell them apart.
Whoa, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what colorblindness is. And it's not great, but it's also like maybe not as big of a problem, I think, as people think it is. Like it just makes generally it makes things look a lot more muted than they probably are. But then there are also like forms of colorblindness that are really, really like messed up and really hamper your vision. Like you just straight up can't see colors, or like, you know, like reds will show up as yellows, or like, yeah.
No, that's super interesting. Yeah, like I feel like that's something that you don't think an artist would ever. You don't think an artist would ever start being an artist if they were colorblind, just because of that. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, well, I found out I was colorblind like well after I had started like drawing. Like I went in for an eye exam or whatever because my eyesight was getting worse, and I forget what it is, but like at some point in the test there were colors and I had trouble with them, so they were like, maybe we should like run a colorblindness test on you, and then what they did was that they took out this like rectangular box, and it had a bunch of like it was a box and it had like a bunch of like circular like shapes, like little pucks in it.
Yeah.
And the pucks had a color on top, and the colors formed a spectrum from red to like purple or whatever. And the optometrist opened the box, took it, flipped it onto the table upside down, and then like mixed them all together, and then said, put these back in the box in the order of the spectrum. And I was like, okay, sure. So I did that. And then he flips the box upside down and opens a slot, and underneath all the pucks there was a number. And if you had put them properly, the numbers would go from 1 to 15 or whatever, and the numbers were all over the place. And I was like, and me being like a 13-year-old or whatever, I was like, bullshit, you're fucking with me, like, no way. And then my dad was like, let me try it. And then he opens the thing, and then like, or he flips them open, puts them all back into position, flips the bottom, slides it up, it's perfect, like perfectly lined up. I'm like, well, shit.
What a way to find out.
And then that happened like in the middle of high school, so sure enough, it brought a lot of people like teasing me about it. And the thing that sucks about telling people you're colorblind at like in an era where, you know, people are kind of jerks, and also like high school's they're maybe not the best at interacting with people with like, you know, like minor disabilities or whatever. It's like, it was, oh, you're colorblind? What color is that? What color is that? What color is that? What color is that? What color is my shirt? It's like, I don't want to do this. Fuck off.
That's such a high school thing to do though.
Yeah.
Man.
The worst I got was in college. We had a teacher that I will not name because I think he's still working there.
Oops.
Unfortunately. And we were doing a project, and we had to. It was a really bad project, and what we did was like he would do, like, we basically had to reproduce the thing that he was making in the front of the class. We would throw it up on the projector, and he was like, now I'm going to make this shape, and I'm going to make it this color, and you reproduce that. So naturally, when he would get to parts that were like kind of like really like muted yellows and greens and stuff, I was like, I don't fucking know, so I'm just gonna.
Whatever.
This is probably the color, and then I would put it, and then he would walk around the class and look at everyone's work, and then he got to my screen at one point, and he was like, "This is the wrong color." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what color it is." And he was like, "What do you mean? I did it in front." I'm like, "I know you did. I saw you do it, but it doesn't mean I can see the color. Like, I'm colorblind."
Gosh.
And at the moment he heard I was colorblind, he goes, and he just he fell back against the wall like behind us, and he was like, "How did you even get this far? Like, how did you become an artist?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like,
what is this reaction?
I got this far because I'm really good. Like, despite
I'm awesome. Excuse me.
And then later he would be the teacher that also taught us like acrylic painting and stuff. And when I picked, we had another project where we had to reproduce like a famous like impressionist painting or whatever. But we could pick the painting. So I picked a painting where I could see the colors properly,
Right.
and I knew I had faith in my ability to reproduce it. And he was like, "No, this isn't by someone famous enough. Pick something else." I'm like, "First of all, that's stupid.
Excuse me.
And also, no, I want to do this one because I know these colors." And he was like, "No, you should do this instead." So I basically like forced my hand into doing something else. And then sure enough, I gave it back and the colors were all wrong. Or no, actually before that, when I got to a point where I had to start mixing colors, I was like, "Excuse me, I need help because I can't mix these colors. I'm colorblind." And he was like, "Well, ask one of your classmates." And I couldn't do that because I have really bad anxiety, but also like I don't want to bother them while they're also really hard at work doing their stuff. It was like I can't, like they're all busy. And he was like, "Well, you just have to figure that out then." It was like, "Excuse me?" So I did my best. I made a really like poorly colored version of that painting or whatever. I handed it in. Sure enough, I failed. And then I was like, "Why did you fail me?" And he was like, "Well, the colors are all wrong." I was like, I'm going to murder you in your sleep. Like, holy shit.
You know, those are like those professors who like turn you off of a subject.
Yeah, like nobody likes that teacher. And
Oh my god.
the only reason that he's still there, I'm pretty sure, is because he has tenure.
Chat's like, anyways, they're swearing, but like they're like, that fucking guy.
But that fucking guy indeed.
Oh, that's the worst. Great, okay. Wonderful.
What is going on with this? No? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
No.
Beautiful.
What is going on there? Oh, there we go.
Launch Vitus says name and shame him. We're not gonna name and shame him. But...
No, I don't. Well, so that's the thing. I could probably name him. It wouldn't like actually mean anything to anyone. But like, what's the point?
That's true. Nailed it. Nailed the eye thing. Yep. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. Tragic professor story with art. Whatever.
Every artist has one. Every artist has one story like that.
Yeah.
There's actually oh god, I'm trying to remember what their Tumblr profile is. Oh, I can't remember, but I know it's on their Twitter. Go on Twitter and then look up at albino.
I'm gonna.
Albino.
Yes.
Let me just make sure that's still their pinned thing. Oh, it's not.
Oh.
They changed it.
Oh no. Well, I can go on the Tumblr if that helps.
Maybe. So, they're like a former classmate of mine, and they wrote. Or actually, if you type in albino and then none of that anime bullshit into Google, you'll probably get it. They wrote a comic about like their experience going through our college program and also university, and like dealing with teachers who would criticize us for like constantly drawing with an anime art style because they thought it was cheap and wrong and that it wasn't going to get us anywhere in life. And
I have many things to say about that, none of which I will say on stream.
And now I work from home and paint like things for a whole bunch of fans that I have every day, and it's the best fucking thing of my life. So they can shut up as far as I'm concerned.
Tell them. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Thanks, Lena, for linking the Tumblr. But I can't find that post you're talking about. Oh well.
Maybe try like albino penguin and then comic.
Oh shit! I spelled that completely. Nope, that's. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well.
I know if Lena's in the chat, then she knows what I'm talking about, and she can probably do the digging and find it.
Oh no, I found it. I'll link it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
that's it.
Got it, you guys.
It's
expert Google skills.
Yeah, I think they did that for like a comic project in their university program or something, and they just like dropped it one night on Twitter, and then it got like I don't know, like 2,000 retweets or something, because it's kind of heavy in its spots, but it's a really good summary of like how actually like emotionally distressing and like kind of destructive that program was in some ways. Especially because I went into the games like right after I graduated, but they continued into university, and like that shit didn't stop. Like it still continued there, and that sucks.
Yeah. I feel like it's just, especially in like, I guess, creative endeavors, there's a lot of people, especially when they teach, who think that there's like a real right way to do things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's totally not just art either. Like, like Lena can speak better to it than I can, and I don't super want to, considering she like has no voice right now. She's just in the chat, and I'm on here or whatever. But Lena, my girlfriend, she went to like a really like famous music school in Seattle. And they super gave her shit for like making super like music that was like composed and structured more like pop music, because they were like, no, you should be writing like classical music for like an orchestra to perform. And then she would go on to make like she makes incredible music, and it's like just because like it's fucking stupid, because like that's not the kind of music she wanted to make. And then also it didn't matter, because like she did compose music that would be performed by an orchestra, and it turned into like an award-winning soundtrack for a game. So
there we go.
Fucking like shut up. There's no right way to do anything. Like
I love those moments though when you can just like when you accomplish something, you're like, show it off. Take that.
Part of me really does want to go back to my college and like kind of rub it into that professor's nose.
Look at my anime art.
Look at my anime art. Also, I wake up at 10 p.m. every day. Fuck you.
Oh gosh, love it. Do you have any like non-game art that influences you? I mean, I guess there's anime, but like.
Non-game. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it could just be game art or anime or whatever that influences you.
No, I mean, I have a lot of artists and stuff that I follow that like super like influence and inspire me. But none of them, like almost all of them are all like illustrators and stuff. Like none of them. Some of them do art for games, but most of them don't. I'm trying to think. Actually, one of them does art for games, but it's not like it's art for games in like the loosest sense, in that it's all like art for like CCGs and stuff. So at that point, you're still just making illustrations, but they're illustrations that are like being included in the game, Yeah, I don't know. Like most of the artists and stuff that I follow are like kind of weird or do they do art for just like stuff that like they're one I have like I keep flip flopping on like who is my favorite artist.
Right. I mean, you can have multiple.
It honestly just depends on the day. Like you could ask me one day and I would answer something very different than the next. I can actually open up. Is there? Yeah, that's my Dropbox. There's. Whoops. I need one more 9 in there.
Oh.
There's this guy who is super good. All of his art, a whole bunch. He's like a really young Japanese dude who does. I know him because he does all the art for what are called like utaite videos, which are, you know what Vocaloid is?
Yes.
Okay, so utaite are musicians who take Vocaloid songs and then re-record them with their own vocals.
Oh.
So instead of a Vocaloid singing it, it's them. So they're vocalists. But it's like this weird like special scene in Japan. And they make animated music videos out of with that stuff, and he does a lot of art for them. There's him. There's if I can remember. There we go. There's this guy who does art for like Fate Grand Order and a whole bunch of other like Japanese like just free to play games and stuff.
Right.
He's like a freelance illustrator that just like
insane.
is everywhere. Like yeah, this like right.
Oh wait.
I have to log in, but like his art is like super incredible and just so like vivid and detailed.
Oh man, that near one. Oof.
Like
yeah.
I like his style and just like I subscribe to Pixiv has a thing called Pixiv Fanbox, which is kind of like Patreon, where you support an artist every month.
Oh, okay.
And in exchange, they post like tutorials and stuff, and he posts like the raw PSD files of some of his projects. Like going through that and seeing how he paints and stuff is like, it's like incredible. Like even just like thumbing through layers, I'm like, I've already learned so much. Holy shit. There's him, and then there's also.
It's just insane to me, like how many good artists there are.
Yeah, there's this dude who
I don't even know what that is.
He just had an exhibition in Japan actually.
Holy shit.
I love his art because it's all digital, but it all looks like super watercolory and like.
That's insane.
Yeah, like the thing that I like the most about his art and like what I take the most away from it is that it's all very like design heavy. Like it's all illustrations and stuff, but it's like the composition is always like perfect, and there's like it's always kind of like this like work together like juxtaposition of like here's a character with like some shapes or just like an environment that frames things in a way to make it look like more than just like, oh, it's a character painting. And I actually found out about him through this painting, because this is a painting of or it's like fan art of a music video of like my favorite music band. But yeah, his stuff is incredible. I really like it.
Dang.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of more artists that like inspire me too, but you know, also super all over the place, I guess.
Yeah. Man. As a non-artist, I'm just like, man, how do people do it? How do people do it?
Time is the actual answer. It's just time.
Time. Fair enough. I guess just always drawing, like you do with your daily warm-ups.
Like, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Would you say your art school did
Hmm?
anything for you?
That's like a super tricky one to answer.
Mm.
Because like the thing is that I ended up learning more in like 4 months of working in games than I did in like 3 years of going to school.
Mm.
But I think that needs like an asterisk next to it, because like the only reason that I can say that is because I went to school in the first place.
Right.
The thing that college was like super important was that it got me to finish projects. It got me to like build at least some semblance of a, even if none of those pieces are relevant anymore, it got me to build somewhat of a portfolio.
Mm.
And it's not that I wouldn't have been able to build a portfolio in like if I didn't go to college. It's just that it was dedicated time to that, right? I didn't have to like do that out of free time or anything.
Yeah.
It was all like schoolwork.
Yeah, Leavington says learning how to learn. I feel like that's a lot of school.
Basically, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It was it was kind of that, and then the thing was that it was also like, you know, learning. Like I self-taught most of what I know. And like everything I've learned since school has also all been mostly self-taught. But like the thing was that I went into college with like some ideas of like how to draw certain things,
Mm-hmm.
and then once it was like, okay, here's our class where we're going to be learning anatomy, all of a sudden I was like, oh, everything I know about this is wrong.
Oh.
And now we went to learn the proper way how to do it, and like if I'm being super honest, not a ton of it has stuck,
Mm-hmm.
but like the very basics of it did, and the basics are what was important because that's what that gave me like a foundation to then just like kind of figure out my own path through it. And like I think that was super important. Like the thing looking back on it now is like I was like, well, I can't think of anything that I learned in college that like I can't look at any of the art that I do now
Mm-hmm.
and point at it and say I can do this because I went to college.
Right.
Like most of that happened in the years after,
Mm-hmm.
but like having a period of my life that was entirely dedicated to just art.
Right.
It's like, no, this is, you do this every day and you do this when you get home at night because it's your homework. Like it's just constant practice, and it's not just practice, but it's like practice because I'm literally just learning so much every day.
Right.
And it's kind of like I think people get the impression that it's like, oh, you go to college and then you leave and then you're like a master like painter or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not true. Like honestly, like when we got like I remember getting into college like the first day in the first class, like nobody knew each other, so everyone was just like sitting around like kind of doodling in their sketchbooks. And you look around at other people's sketchbooks and you're like, holy shit, everyone who's here is already like super good at art. Like,
Yeah.
Why are any of us here? And like you leave the program like some people enter terrible and then they leave really good. Some people enter terrible and they leave slightly better. Some people enter really good and they leave still really good, just with like a little bit more knowledge. Like it varies so much on the person, but like I think that it's never going to happen where someone is going to go into college with no knowledge of art whatsoever, or like very little art knowledge, and then leave and then be like, I'm like a world-renowned artist now. So it's like,
hello.
No, that's never going to happen. It's just like college is just a really like art school is just a really good way to like just dedicate a small part of your life to like really getting better at that stuff
Mm.
and learning how to get better at it on your own terms, because I think that's the most important part.
Right. No, I always thought that when you're doing art, there would be way more layers.
It honestly depends. I have some files that like it depends. Like this one, not really, because it's so like painterly.
Right.
Oh god, which one should I download? My Dropbox is still open. I think I can go get
No, it's a different one.
I can go get something that has a ton of layers if you want to see what that looks like, because that's generally how that stuff can go. This one's not a bad one for that. And then also,
Is this a Persona character? Her bandana mask reminds me of Skull.
no, because Skull has it over his eyes. I could probably make them a Persona character. Like,
Oh no. Persona.
God, I need to play more Persona. I've been slacking so much.
Yeah? For Persona 5, I assume?
Yeah. I'm like kind of ambivalent on the game, so I'm not
Okay.
like I don't have the drive to finish it like I did like Nier or even like any of the other Persona games. There we go. It's done.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Masterpiece.
It's perfect.
Yep. Mm. This is art. What are you playing now?
It's still actually no. Still Persona when I feel the motivation to, but I'm mostly playing a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh yeah.
Because that game is real fun.
Yeah, I've seen like some
Super
streams of
good.
it. I haven't played it though. Ooh, spooky.
This is still. I can't tell if this is brighter than I want it to be, or it's just like the monitor like not being up to
Snuff.
like super up to task.
It's a mystery. Mystery monitor.
Yeah, I'm actually like partially upset that I had to that I had kind of a lazy morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I like kind of, oh crap, I don't have my tool presets for this. I wanted to do some stuff before leaving to come here, and I couldn't. And that bums me out because I wanted to play like a match of Battlegrounds before I got here. I couldn't.
We've gone in the way of Battlegrounds. I'm so sorry.
It's so good.
Ooh, shots of light. I think.
Yeah, let's see.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I need to watch more art streams. These are so cool.
I want to do more of that. It's just been like super bad and like busy.
Happens. So much art. Only so much art you can do. I'm gonna throw your Twitch.
It is twitch.tv /orhack_.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I actually have twitch.tv /orhack, but I don't remember the password, and it's like tied to an email account that I also don't have access to anymore, and I can't recover.
Oh man.
So
That's like the most annoying thing.
it's just lost forever. I know some people at Twitch, and I want to like just bug them and be like, hey
Guys,
look,
please.
I know this isn't your department, but can you just help me out with this? Can you just trust that
Please.
twitch.tv /orhack is me, and you can just give me that username?
The struggles. Also, if you guys want, I'm going to. Oh, I think Twitch does have a program to recover names that are no longer in use. Might want to look into that.
Well, that's the thing is I don't know if it's no longer in use. Like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I might look into it.
Yeah.
Because I think the names have to be like deactivated or something.
Well, yeah, maybe look into it, especially for people that make money on their name. Yeah, it could probably be useful to look at. Longevitus. I'm so sorry I can't pronounce your Twitch name. Are you using a mouse or pen right now? She's using a mouse. She's using a pen.
If I was using a mouse, woof.
Ooh. Can you? That'd be like a selling point. I do all of my art with a mouse.
There is. I could be. So I haven't been able to confirm this myself. It's only been like loose talk that I've heard from other people who have said this. But oh god, what's his name? The pixel artist who did all the art for the Scott Pilgrim game.
Oh.
Paul Robertson, I think. Pretty sure it's
yeah, Paul Robertson.
Paul Robertson. He did all of that art with a mouse, and I think he does most of his art with a mouse. Yeah.
It's like that guy who makes those animations using a. Is it a 3DS? Not 3DS. Something.
Oh, Flipnote.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is KK Flipnote on Twitter, and he's great.
It's amazing.
All of his really gelatinous bird animations are.
They're so gelatinous.
They're
they
wonderful.
Make me so happy every time I see them. Like they're so floppy.
This is not.
Lickington. I used to, but then I was gifted a tiny tablet, and it's the best gift I've gotten in my life. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm using right now. Like when I'm at home, I actually use. I have a Cintiq 13 HD, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought this because I'm on the go, and it's just like it's an Intuos Draw, and it's like $80.
Oh.
Like I normally talk a lot of bad stuff about Wacom because they have like they like dominate the market basically,
yeah.
so they can just kind of set whatever prices they want. And they take advantage of that in a really bad way. I think like a lot of their stuff is really unaffordable, especially for like really struggling artists. But this thing is like $80 and is awesome. Like it works super well, and it's small and it's lightweight, and like for the like I mean I'm used to using like literally the best tool that they have. Like it's a Cintiq. You can't get better than that, right? Even if it's the small one, but like going from that to this, like it's like almost no difference.
Oh, that's awesome then. Yeah, I know that pretty much all the like artists I know use Wacom. Actually, now that I think about it.
There's a few people who have jumped ship to Huion. They're like a Chinese company, I think, that make like that also make tablets and stuff. And for a really long time, they were like it was like all like knockoff Wacom stuff in a really bad way. Like the quality was just not up to par.
Yeah.
But they've made up a lot of that ground. And their stuff is like not so bad now, especially since it's like usually like a third of the price of Wacom products. But like it's still a trade. It's like they have a Cintiq equivalent, and it's like $800 compared to 2,000 something.
Wow.
But the trade-off is that like the drivers aren't super stable, and the pen needs batteries, and is also like a bit bigger, and the screen has a ton of glare, and
okay, yeah.
You know, it's not perfect, but like it's also like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds cheaper. So
yeah, money versus whatever else when negatives are. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but like you said, it's kind of like a one-off payment. Unlike
this is the thing. It's like if you're getting like I think it's still worth investing in something like a Cintiq, because like I've had mine for I think 2 years now, and like I need to replace it because I use it every day for like several hours a day, and now the screen has gotten scratched up real bad. Partially my fault because I've not put any kind of screen protection on it, but like it's I don't know what I would have done without it. Like even like I got it for like 900 or something, I think, and like within a month it was like, oh, this was worth every single dollar.
That's good. Yeah. Ooh, out of curiosity, is there a game where you're like the art is just amazing and your favorite?
I mean, there's a lot of games like that. Trying to think. I mean, like obviously, like even if I'm not like the most into the game as a whole, like I think Persona 5's art is like some fucking next level stuff. Especially like just the menus and all of that. I don't know. Like I think stuff like Splatoon is really good because that game feels like modern in a way that most games don't. Like it totally gets like modern fashion and everything, like super right.
Yeah.
Whereas the games that generally try to do that look like super forced and maybe not super well informed. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something recently that was like, oh wow. I don't know. I really like all the Souls games because even if I'm not like super into fantasy stuff, like I think all of their environment and like monster designs are really good because they're all unique in a really good way. Like it's not I'm not the most informed on fantasy, so I'm probably actually like super wrong, and there's probably like a really good point of comparison, but like I don't feel like I see that type of fantasy anywhere else. Like it's like dark and sad in a really like good way. But then they also do like a sense of scale in a way that I think is like awesome and actually like super inspiring.
I'm like mesmerized by these like light reflections. I'm not sure why.
Rim lighting.
It's just so cool. Oh, yes, Splatoon. It's also inspired so many just really good fan artists that only do Splatoon style art, and it's really wild.
Yeah, and that's certainly most fandoms now. Is like you have people who they just draw the thing from that property. But yeah, like Splatoon really took like a fandom of its own, and I think that's really just because of like the appearance of that game.
Yeah, I mean it really makes a difference for a game since that's like the first thing, the first impression you get. I like the skull color we're getting.
I almost want to keep these colors because they're so like
vibrant.
Yeah,
I like it.
Good.
Yeah.
Just contrasts weird against
Oh.
the background. I don't know. Might actually save this and then finish this up later at home or something. I actually really like this. But...
Dude, save the PSD file.
Yeah.
Then you guys can hop on over to twitch.tv/rhack_ one day for a nice. Oh, also, I'm gonna throw your Patreon in chat.
Yeah, I have a Patreon that you can sub to and get cool high resolution versions of everything that I do. If you want sweet wallpapers, I guess. But then I also like post links to all of my PSDs and stuff. So if you're like an artist who is learning and just are curious about how I just do everything, that's a really good way
to learn.
Getting in on that. Because like I feel like that's how I've learned most of the stuff that I've learned in the past like months, if not like years, is just like really surface level peeking at other artists. It's like it's one thing to like look at something that they paint and then be like, how do I reproduce that? because that's certainly doable. You need like a knowledge of like the software you're using, and also like just general like art knowledge to try and like piece together like how could they have done this. But having access to like their raw files is like, oh, now I can break this down by layer and actually get like a closer understanding of this while still not like you're not seeing the brushstrokes, you're not seeing like the years of like learning that they had to get to that point, but being able to like break it down in some ways, it's like, oh, I get this. Like, so like one of the things that I actually learned from Lack, the artist that does all the Fate Grand Order stuff, is that he uses a technique called gradient mapping, and that's if I do this, I turn this into black and white. So he starts all of his paintings in black and white, and then what he does is that he adds a thing on top here called gradient map, and what that does is that anything that is dark, it'll apply a color, and then anything that is white, it'll apply a color, and then anything in that spectrum, it will apply that color relative to like how white or black it is.
Right.
So if I say I want all the blacks in this to be blue, and I want all the whites in this to be like hot pink, then it's going to do that, and then I can add in a new color here, and then make that like beige or whatever, and then I can adjust it.
Ah, neat.
And I can like fine tune that. I can bring this in. Like, I can have more pinks here if I want. And like he uses these a ton, and it's actually super interesting because what he does is that he'll paint in a way so that like skin tones and stuff will generally be at a certain like a certain shade level, so that when he throws a gradient map on, it just basically automatically applies skin tones and everything, and then like a really base color layer that then like what he'll do is that he'll have this, and then he'll just bring it down a little bit so you still have like a hint of skin and color, and then he'll throw like a layer on top like this, and then just paint, and then start adding in the colors like that.
Yeah.
And that's how he paints all this stuff. And like I never would have known if I didn't actually open his files and like figured that out. And like once I found that out, I was like, holy shit, this is, I had no idea you could paint like this. Like that's actually super interesting, and like a really like time saving way of making really good paintings, because like painting in black and white is super helpful because like you just immediately see what the values are.
Right. That's cool. Drummer Boy says that's so cool. Yeah. Agreed. Art is cool.
Eh.
It's mediocre. It's
I don't recommend it.
I mean, I guess it's hard. It's hard to really get into it.
I need to finish it, but I started writing a guide that's, because I get a lot of questions on Twitter from like questions when people have an understanding of who are already artists and just have like a really basic question like, oh, what, like, can I download your brushes, or like how did you achieve this effect or whatever. Like that's easy enough to answer because I know they know enough that I can tell them something and then they'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But for someone who's like, well, how do I draw? And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, I literally don't do art, but I want to start because it's something I think is really cool. Where do I start? And that's like so much to explain.
Yeah.
Because it can go in so many different directions. So I actually started writing like kind of like a guide of sorts to just for people to try and figure that out.
Who are legitimately beginners.
Yeah, who are like I don't actually draw yet. Beginner, and I started writing that guide, and I'm like pretty far in. I want to finish it at some point soon. But like as I started it, I was like, I could just sum up this guide really quickly if I just made a single paragraph. I think I posted it to Twitter, and it was just like all the guide was intro to drawing, and it was like, don't. Like, save yourself while you can. Go into civil engineering or something. Like,
yeah, make money as a civil engineer.
it's like, yeah, or just make money in general.
Fair enough. Just avoid at all costs. Great.
Do you like being upset and depressed a lot? Do I have the profession for you?
Yeah. It's a hard profession to go in. I mean, a lot of creative professions, I suppose. Most creative professions.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like trying to think of one that's like a solid money maker. And I can't think of one.
Can't, no. Yep.
Yeah. But hey, who knows if you keep drawing and general advice thrown out.
Yeah, that's like my actual advice is if you draw and you actually want to do this for a living is like never act like just straight up never stop drawing and post all your stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's more or less how I got here, and like I'm an idiot that in no way should be employed by anyone, and somehow managed to have that keep happening. And now I'm at a point where I can just like employ myself, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But like none of that would ever happen if I didn't like do this every day and like work really hard to get better at what I did, and just like constantly put myself out there for people to see and like, you know, hire me and stuff.
Yeah. I like the skull. It's just the skull theme.
How are we doing on time? I don't actually.
It's like 5:04. So
Okay.
if you want to wrap up, it's all good. If you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to throw that in the chat. Also, Erica literally got inspiration for this seconds before we started the stream.
I didn't know what I was going to draw, and I was like, oh no, I need to go. So that's, if you want like hot tip, make yourself a folder on a Dropbox or just somewhere that you can access from everywhere and add into it really easily. Just make yourself a folder of just stuff you think is cool and inspires you, and that's because I did not know what I was going to draw before I started the stream, and then just thumbed through that really quickly until like it just kind of got my brain going, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I have an idea, and I like to think it worked out.
Yeah, it did.
Sort of.
Meekington says, thanks for the stream, it's really cool. Longevitus says, thank you, Orahack and Kitfox. You're welcome.
Yay.
But mainly, thank you. I was just here to read comments and just look in awe at the art, so thank you.
Yeah.
Look at it. Yay! Alright guys, thank you for tuning in. Again, you can find Erica on Twitter at Orahack, on Twitch at Orahack_, and on Patreon at Orahack still.
Yeah, Patreon / Orahack, I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
If you go to my Twitter, there's links to all that shit. So.
Yeah, and she's the art director for The Shut Isle, which is our game coming out super soon in this summer, which is actually really close now that I think about it. And yeah, you can find us on Twitter at Kitfox Games, Facebook, Kitfox Games, Instagram, Real Kitfox Games, because
Really?
basically we did the same thing where we forgot. Either someone took Kitfox Games, or we have forgotten that apparently someone signed up for Kitfox Games on Instagram. So
Perfect.
it's good. It's great.
Perfect.
Real professional. All right. All right, guys.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks.
we're gonna behind the scenes tapping out.
Yeah. Bye.